The royal fairy tale is collapsing in slow motion, and behind the polished smiles, the whispered denials, and the carefully staged appearances, a brutal financial and emotional war is allegedly exploding behind the gates of Montecito. Because this is no longer just gossip about a troubled marriage. This is about Prince Harry allegedly cutting Meghan Markle out of a $60 million fortune while their entire empire begins cracking under pressure. And the most chilling part? The signs were there all along. Every awkward interview, every forced public appearance, every calculated silence. What looked like celebrity tension may actually have been the quiet setup for one of the most humiliating royal separations in modern history. Inside that California mansion, a cold war appears to be raging between a prince obsessed with protecting his children from the spotlight and a duchess allegedly desperate to keep the Sussex brand alive at any cost. And now insiders claim Harry is no longer playing defense. He is planning his escape. In the United States, statistics reportedly show that nearly 60% of high-profile marriages collapse because of disagreements surrounding children, privacy, and public exposure. And suddenly, the Sussex story starts making terrifying sense. Because for Harry, this issue is deeply personal. The ghost of Princess Diana still follows him everywhere. Cameras are not harmless machines to him, they are weapons. He watched his mother chased by photographers until the entire world woke up to tragedy. That trauma never left him. It became the foundation of his identity. Protect the children. Shield them. Keep them away from the machine. But according to growing speculation surrounding Meghan's lifestyle ambitions, Harry allegedly believes the exact opposite has started happening inside his own household. The tension reportedly exploded when Meghan allegedly pushed to integrate Archie and Lilibet into branding connected to her lifestyle ventures. Suddenly, Harry allegedly found himself trapped in the exact nightmare he thought he escaped when he fled Britain. Except this time, the palace wasn't exploiting his family. Hollywood was. The irony is suffocating. The man who accused the royal institution of commodifying his life allegedly realized he had walked straight into a California version of the same machine, only now filtered through influencer culture, Netflix contracts, and curated social media aesthetics. Every family moment potentially becoming content. Every private memory potentially transformed into marketing. And according to insiders, Harry started seeing the entire Sussex operation differently after that realization. Not as freedom, as another prison. While Meghan allegedly focused on expanding visibility, Harry was reportedly making moves in silence. And this is where the story becomes almost unbelievable. Because sources claim Harry's legal representatives have quietly been meeting with boutique real estate agents searching not for another mansion, not for another luxury compound, but for something shockingly modest. A small American cottage, a quiet retreat, a complete rejection of the celebrity fantasy that once defined the Sussex brand. Think about how symbolic that is. A prince once surrounded by palaces, now allegedly searching for simplicity just to breathe again. That is not downsizing, that is emotional surrender mixed with survival instinct. And suddenly, Montecito starts looking less like a dream home and more like a battlefield, a giant expensive monument to a relationship allegedly collapsing behind closed doors. Because while Meghan reportedly remained focused on public image, Harry allegedly started preparing for a completely different future. A future without the brand, without the endless PR cycle, without Hollywood handlers. And the deeper people look, the more calculated his moves appear. This was not impulsive. This allegedly took months, maybe years to prepare. Then came the financial bombshell that sent shockwaves through royal watchers everywhere, because the world assumed Meghan would automatically walk away with half of Harry's fortune if the marriage collapsed. But according to claims surrounding Harry's legal strategy, that assumption may have been disastrously wrong. California family law reportedly protects inheritances classified as separate property, and insiders claim Harry has been obsessively careful about keeping his inheritance isolated from joint finances. In other words, the prince allegedly built a financial fortress around Diana's money long before divorce rumors exploded into public view. And then another devastating detail surfaced. The Montecito mansion itself allegedly may not even represent real wealth. Reports claim the property arrangement involves massive liabilities and complex financing tied to Tyler Perry connections, meaning the mansion may actually be more debt than fortune. Imagine the psychological impact of that revelation. The palace-sized house the public associated with success potentially becoming a financial anchor, dragging the entire Sussex experiment underwater. But the most shocking shift may be happening thousands of miles away from California, because while Meghan allegedly struggled to hold together the optics of the Sussex brand, Harry suddenly began reappearing in royal circles again, and not quietly. His Ukraine visit reportedly changed everything. The public saw a prince doing humanitarian work, but behind palace walls, insiders allegedly viewed it as something much bigger: Operation Thaw, a carefully orchestrated effort by King Charles to bring Harry back into the royal fold while Meghan remained isolated in California. The symbolism could not have been louder. Harry appearing alongside official royal correspondents, Harry photographed as a statesman instead of a celebrity exile, Harry reconnecting with institutional power while Meghan reportedly watched from Montecito without involvement. That silence became suspicious, because in royal politics, absence speaks louder than statements. And suddenly, the same monarchy Harry once publicly attacked appeared ready to rehabilitate him completely. Not Meghan, him. Now, the power dynamic allegedly looks completely reversed. Meghan was once portrayed as the strategist, the mastermind, the architect of the Sussex future. But as the marriage rumors intensify, Harry appears to be the one holding all the leverage: the money, the palace connections, the legal protections, and possibly even the moral high ground regarding the children. And if these reports are true, Meghan may be realizing far too late that the prince she thought needed Hollywood may have quietly decided he no longer wants it at all. The frightening part is how calm Harry allegedly appears during all of this. No dramatic public meltdowns, no emotional interviews, just careful moves, quiet meetings, legal structures, diplomatic appearances, property searches, financial barriers. It feels less like a breakup and more like a controlled extraction operation unfolding in real time while the world watches without fully understanding what it is seeing. And the deeper this story goes, the darker the implications become. Because if Harry truly has prepared this exit strategy down to the final detail, then the collapse of the Sussex marriage may already be far more advanced than anyone realizes. What makes this story feel almost cinematic is that Meghan Markle allegedly never saw the shift happening until it was already too late. Because while she was reportedly still trying to preserve the image of the Sussex empire, Harry appears to have quietly stepped back emotionally, financially, and socially long before the public caught on. And now, every old interview, every tense body language moment, every strangely timed solo appearance suddenly feels like evidence of something much bigger unfolding behind the scenes. The fairy tale didn't collapse overnight. It allegedly eroded piece by piece while the cameras kept rolling. And the cruelest twist in this entire saga may be the possibility of Meghan losing the one thing that gave her global power in the first place: the royal title. Because according to royal precedent, if the divorce becomes official, Meghan could reportedly lose the privilege of presenting herself as the Duchess of Sussex in the same dominant way that fueled her commercial empire. Suddenly, the entire structure around her begins to wobble. Because let's be brutally honest, Hollywood didn't become obsessed with Meghan Markle simply because she was a former actress. It became obsessed because she was connected to royalty. That title transformed her into a global fascination. It opened billion-dollar doors. It created the mystique. It elevated every interview, every appearance, every contract into an international event. But what happens if the royal connection officially breaks? That question is reportedly terrifying people inside Meghan's circle. Because without Harry beside her, the Sussex brand allegedly loses its central engine. And signs of collapse are already appearing everywhere. The Netflix partnership reportedly facing instability, public interest fluctuating wildly, critics becoming louder, even celebrity allies allegedly creating distance as the drama intensifies. Hollywood loves controversy only when it remains profitable. But when controversy starts damaging the money flow, loyalty evaporates frighteningly fast. And now, Meghan allegedly faces the possibility of standing alone in an industry that never forgives weakness. Meanwhile, Harry appears to be rebuilding himself with chilling precision. That Ukraine trip was not just symbolic. It allegedly reintroduced him to the exact world he was born into: diplomacy, service, international relevance, institutional protection. Suddenly, he looked less like a runaway prince and more like a man rediscovering his original identity after years lost inside celebrity chaos. And Buckingham Palace reportedly recognized the opportunity immediately. Because if Harry returns to service while separating himself from the Hollywood machine, the monarchy wins twice. The institution regains the prince, and the blame for the collapse quietly shifts toward Meghan. That is the terrifying brilliance of the alleged palace strategy. They do not need explosive public attacks. They do not need dramatic confrontations. They simply reposition Harry as stable, wounded, dignified, and focused on duty, while Meghan allegedly becomes associated with branding battles, publicity struggles, and commercial ambition. The contrast alone tells the story for them. And in royal warfare, perception is everything. The most unsettling detail is how methodical this all feels. Harry allegedly didn't explode publicly. He didn't create chaos. He didn't issue threats. Instead, he quietly fortified the money, strengthened palace ties, ties, repositioned his public image, prepared alternative housing, and allegedly secured the protection of royal legal expertise before the world even understood what was happening. That level of preparation changes the entire perception of him. Suddenly, he no longer looks like the lost prince dragged through Hollywood. He looks like a man executing a carefully calculated return to the system he once rejected. And if the marriage truly collapses, Meghan may face a terrifying reality: losing the prince, losing the royal shield, losing financial leverage, losing public sympathy, and possibly losing influence inside the celebrity world all at once. The same woman once celebrated as the future of a modern monarchy could allegedly end up isolated inside the ruins of the very empire she helped build. Meanwhile, Harry would return not as a defeated exile, but as a rehabilitated royal figure backed by centuries of institutional power and public nostalgia surrounding Diana's son. That is why this story has gripped the world so intensely. It is not just about divorce, it is about power, identity, survival, image, revenge through silence. A prince allegedly reclaiming control while an empire built on visibility slowly implodes under its own pressure. And the scariest part? The final chapter may not even be public yet. Because if these reports are true, then what the world is seeing right now may only be the controlled beginning of a much larger royal separation operation still unfolding behind palace walls and Montecito gates.